Hi everyone, am I audible and visible to you all? Are we live? Can you see me, hear me? Yes, can you see me, hear me? Hi guys, can you see me, hear me? Do let me know in the chat section, people. Hi everyone, hello. Welcome to the class. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the class, everyone. Welcome to the class. So how are you all doing? How are you all doing? All good? Well? Lunch, ma'am. I am good. I'm doing well. You tell me, how are you? So are you guys ready for this revision? Yes, bache. So today it is the breathing and exchange of gases chapter that we are going to complete in one shot, right? So we are going to revise the most important topics of this particular chapter and we'll be practicing the question as well. Okay. So today, yes, we are also going to practice MCQ. Okay. Right. So are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? So it is Revise India, guys. At least revise your syllabus even if you are preparing for NEET 2025, right? If it is your second drop, then this series is going to be very helpful for all of you, right? You will get an idea that your concepts are good or not, right? Where are you making the mistakes? So that will be very good for you. Yes, that will be very good for you. Okay. Chaliye. So this is what we have to do, breathing and exchange of gases. I hope you guys have revised. So can I start with one question? Yes, students, can I start with one question? In the case of Askelman's, okay, how the exchange of gases will be done? In the case of Askelman's, how the exchange of gases will be done? Yes, students, how will it be done? Answer my question. Answer my question. Answer my question. How will that exchange of gases be done? Yes, through body surface and it is by a diffusion. So in this particular chapter, that is what we are going to revise. Okay, bache, that is what we are going to revise. So we are going to start with the most important topics. Okay, and trust me, you are going to love it. But before that, students, let me tell you, if you guys are preparing for the exchange of gases be done. Yes, through body surface and it is by a okay. So basically, just a minute. Okay, so basically guys, if you are preparing for the NEET 2025, you know that we have launched our pharynx 3.0 batch. Okay, we have launched our pharynx 3.0 batch, bache, and you know that your team Avengers is going to teach you in this batch. So me, Wazeem sir, HSP sir and Yawa sir is going to teach you in this batch, bache. And if you join this particular batch for 1 year, right, for 1 year you can see not just our batch, you will have the access of all the batches that are running on Unacademy platform for NEET UG educators. This is the first thing. Second thing is that if you enroll yourself in this batch, you are going to get DPPs, you are going to get PDF notes, right, bache, and moreover there will be the mock test. Okay, after every 15 days there will be the mock test also, there will be the doubts sessions also, there will be the PYQ practice sessions also. Okay, there will be the PYQ practice sessions also, just imagine. And not just this, and even let's say after the class you guys are having any doubt, no doubt you can reach out to your teachers as well, but on Unacademy platform, bache, you will have that doubt solving option. Okay, you guys will have that doubt solving option as well. Okay, so even if after the class any doubt is bothering you, right, no worries, right, directly on the platform you can solve it, right. And here in this particular batch, right, in coming 6 months we are going to finish the syllabus, and after that the syllabus of 11th and 12th both, and after that there will be the multiple rounds of revision, bache, right. And when we'll start the crash course, right, automatically you will get enrolled in that crash course, and once again you people can revise your syllabus. So it is not just for, you know, for 6 months you have to enroll in this batch, not for 7 months till your NEET 2025. You will be the part of this batch. Your teachers are going to take care of everything. Okay, so without any delay, bache, without any delay, join the batch. Okay, without any delay, join the batch. Today I think my screen is not in the mood to work. So here in the description box now, here in the description box, students, you guys will get the link, right, and you can join our batch. Okay, chali. So let's start. So the chapter name is breathing and exchange of gases. So my first question is, it's a very simple question, right? We will move from the simple questions to the difficult one, right? So as I said, the chapter name is breathing and exchange of gases. So first of all, tell me that what is the difference? What is the difference in breathing and respiration? What is the difference in breathing and respiration? Quick. What is the difference in breathing and respiration? Everyone, quick. Quick. Guys, quick. I think there is some issue with the YouTube or something. I'm not able to see your chats properly. Tell me quickly, everyone in the class, what is the difference in breathing and respiration? Respiration means breaking down of glucose. Breathing is intake of oxygen. And exchange gas is breathing. Breathing is the first step of respiration. Very good. So, bache, let's start it, right? And let's revise it in detail. Just a minute. Let's revise it in detail, okay? So, yes, bache, when we talk about the respiration, this is the word respiration. What's going to happen in respiration? When we talk about the respiration, it is a multi-step process. What kind of process it is? It is a multi-step process. One thing. Plus, it is enzymatically controlled. Means it is controlled by enzymes. For each and every step, you need the enzyme. It's a multi-step process, enzymatically controlled process. It is catabolic. What is the meaning of catabolic? What is the meaning of catabolic? Wait, I'll explain that too. So it's a multi-step process, it's enzymatically controlled, it's catabolic process, right? And what is going to happen here? The glucose will be oxidized, right? Glucose will be oxidized in the presence of oxygen and, right, in the presence of oxygen in multi-step enzymatically controlled way. And energy will be trapped. Okay, the energy will be trapped. So this is what respiration is. This is what respiration is. So what is going to happen in respiration? In very simple words, ultimately your glucose, that is C6H12O6, it will be oxidized. Right? What is going to happen to the glucose, bache? This glucose will be oxidized in the presence of oxygen. This first point clear? In the presence of oxygen, and it will not be done in one step. Okay, it's a multi-step process. So if you will read the NCERT Samiksha, you will see that in NCERT it is clearly mentioned that indirectly there is a breakdown of glucose. Okay, please open your NCERT and please mark it. Please open your NCERT and please mark these important terms. In the NCERT, it is clearly mentioned that the breakdown of glucose is there, right? But it is indirectly. So basically in the presence of oxygen, the breakdown of glucose in a multi-step process will be done. For each step we need the enzyme. And why is it multi-step process? Because slowly, right, it's not like that in one go we can just get all the energy from glucose and we can form the OTP. No, in multi-step process, one by one, energy will be trapped. Okay, energy will be trapped in the form of ATP. Now, when you talk about this process, respiration, I use the word catabolic. Right, bache? I use the word catabolic. You know it very well. There is one word, that is metabolism. Yes, there is one word, that is metabolism. Right? So, metabolism means the chemical reactions which are going on in our body. Yes or no? Yes or no? Metabolism means the chemical reactions which are going on in our body. And you know that if there will be no chemical reaction in our body, it means something or a cell is not living. Right? For being living, yes bache, for being living, it is very important that metabolism should be there. The chemical reactions should be there. So, without any exception, it is the defining property of the living organisms. Yes or no? Yes or no? Quickly, the session should be interactive. I want you people to answer everything in the chat. Quick guys, right? And make sure you like the session, right? Make sure you subscribe the session and do share the session link with your friends. Quick. Right, bache? So, basically, metabolism means the chemical reactions that are going on in our body. So, you know that here we have two things. One is catabolism, another is anabolism. One is catabolism, another is anabolism. So, cata means cut. Right? Cata means cut. Okay. Cata means cut. And anabolism, build up. What is the meaning of anabolism? It is build up. So, cata means cut. Right, so here basically what you need to understand that in catabolism there will be the breakdown, okay, and there will be the buildup of the things. So because it is respiration, breakdown of glucose is there, so that is why we are saying it is catabolic process. Yes or no? That is why we are saying, Naveen, Akshay, it is catabolic process. Yes, am I right? Yes, bache, am I right? Tell me, am I right? है ना? Of course, ma'am. है ना? Of course, ma'am. So that is why we are saying that it is the catabolic process. Right, bache? So breakdown of glucose is there. So one more thing that you need to remember is that in the chapter respiration in plants, we will also study that how this respiration becomes amphibolic in nature. What is the meaning of being amphi? Amphi means dual, right? That respiration is catabolic as well as anabolic. So that we will discuss later, but basically it's a catabolic, right? It is a catabolic process. The breakdown of glucose will be there. Now, ma'am, no doubt, even in NCERT, students, if you will check NCERT, even in NCERT, it is this word is used, ki respiration or breathing word is used interchangeably. No, it's not like that, right? It is not like that. So when we say breathing, yes, students, when we say breathing, so breathing is the first step of respiration. Because in respiration, we need the oxygen to oxidize the glucose, and breathing is the first step of respiration. Clear, bache? So it means exchange of gases, right? It simply means to inhale and to exhale, right? What's the meaning of breathing? To inhale and to exhale. So this breathing is also known as pulmonary ventilation, right, bache? We also call it pulmonary ventilation. It's the first step of respiration. So basically inhale and the exhale will be done. Inhale and the exhale will be done. We have to inhale, we have to exhale, and ultimately the gases will be exchanged via diffusion. Okay, the gases will be exchanged via diffusion. So first of all, you all tell me what is the meaning of diffusion. Quick guys, what is the meaning of diffusion? Quick. Very good. What is the meaning of diffusion? Quick. Yes. Quick, chat is slow guys. I want the energy. I want to see the energy. The session should be interactive, right? So I know on YouTube there are some limitations, right? I cannot just ask your name again and again. I cannot ask the same question from same student again and again. That is why we always say that batches are better. There is a decorum in the batches, okay? Right? No one can disturb our classes there. Okay, if someone will try to, we can just scold that person, right? So that is a kind of limitation here on YouTube, but still, let's try to make it interactive. What say, guys? Yes, so basically, ultimately it will be diffusion, right? The exchange of gases will be done by a diffusion. So ma'am, what is the diffusion? Diffusion means the movement, right? It means the movement of gases, or not just the gases, movement of molecules in general, you can say. Sorry, movement of substances, you can say, right? It is basically what? It is basically the movement of substances, and movement of substances from their higher concentration, from their higher concentration to their lower concentration, isn't it? From their higher concentration to their lower concentration, movement of gases, right? So basically, let's say you are a rich person, okay? You are a rich person, you have a lot of money, okay? And someone is asking for rupees 10,000, a friend of, let's say, okay, so Mansi is rich and her friend is asking her for the money, ki yaar, just please lend me 10,000 rupees. So Mansi is like, yeah, I have millions, right? I have millions. You want 10,000 rupees? Okay, fine, I'll give it to you. It will be very easy for us. So for her. So basically, what's the point here, students? So see, we are saying the movement is there from high to low. From high to low means at one place that gas should be, its concentration should be high, or you can say that its pressure should be high, and at another point its pressure should be low. Then the movement will be very easy without the expenditure of energy. Can I say that? Without the expenditure of energy, can I say that? Of course, ma'am. Of course. So movement of gases from their higher concentration to their lower concentration, right? So when we say higher to lower concentration, so we use this along the concentration. So we say this along the concentration gradient or down the concentration gradient, right? Down the concentration gradient and along the concentration gradient, and it will be done without the expenditure of energy. So it simply means that diffusion is a passive transport. What kind of transport it is? Passive. What is the meaning of being a passive transport? No ATP used. Understood? No ATP used. Understood? Understood? Right. So diffusion means movement of gases from their higher concentration to their lower concentration without the expenditure of energy, without the use of ATP. Right, bache? So as some students are saying in the chat section that ma'am, it is the downhill transport, downhill movement. Yes, bache, you are right. You are right. So when we talk about the diffusion, we are going to talk about the concentration or the pressure gradient. Right? What are we going to consider, students? We will be talking about the pressure or the concentration gradient. Understood? Understood? So what is the meaning of this gradient? Pressure and concentration gradient, the difference in that pressure, right? The difference in the concentration. Let's say at point A, the concentration is more. At point B, the concentration is less. Then only the movement will occur. Understood? Then only the movement will occur. Okay? Okay, so if let's say at point A and B, okay, the same concentration is there, then the movement should not be there. But in living body, because it is a living body, it's dynamic, still, right, the movement will be there. But let's say if something is moving from A to B, the same thing will move from B to A. So it will be balanced, like we discussed in the isotonic solutions. Okay, so let's not talk about it here, but this is what you need to keep in your mind. So when we inhale, we breathe, right, bache? Right. So basically in the atmosphere, right, the partial pressure of, I'm going to use the word partial pressure. Let me explain you this as well. So partial pressure of oxygen should be high in the atmosphere, and within the lungs, okay bache, within the lungs, this partial pressure of oxygen should be low, right? Then only the oxygen will move from atmosphere to the lungs, within the lungs. Is that clear? Is that clear? And this is something that we need to understand, and we will understand in this chapter. Okay, we will understand in this chapter. So what is the difference in this breathing and the respiration? Is it clear? The difference in breathing and respiration, is it clear? The diffusion, clear? Yes. The diffusion clear? Quick. So see, this is what we need to read in this chapter. Okay, this is what we are going to revise in this chapter. So tell me, are you understanding it? Are you understanding it? Do you have any doubt, people? Do you have any doubt, people? If there is no doubt and you are understanding everything, then I want you people to send some good emojis in the chat section. Yeah, some fire, some love, right? You people are quite slow. What's happening? Quick. Yes, quick. Done? Very good. So basically you don't have any doubt and you are understanding it, right? So see, this is what we have to study in this chapter, okay? Right? So respiration involves the following steps, right? Respiration involves the following step. So breathing, which is also known as pulmonary ventilation, right? Breathing, which is also known as pulmonary ventilation, by which atmospheric air will be drawn in and carbon dioxide rich alveolar air will be released out. So when it is breathing, right, there are two steps: inspiration, which is also known as inhalation. Okay. Second step is expiration, which is known as exhalation. Right, which is known as exhalation. Clear, bache? Now, obviously, the air will come to our lungs, right? I believe you all know that lungs are the respiratory organs, not the kidney. Huh? I believe that you all know it, that lungs are the respiratory organs, not the kidney. Hai na? If you will say, nahi ma'am, kidney is the respiratory organ, trust me, I am going to cry. Literally, I am going to cry. So it is the lungs. It is our lungs that are the respiratory organs. So when we inhale, obviously the air will pass to our lungs. And can you tell me the primary site for the exchange of gases? Yes. Devanshi, Hasini, Mansi, Prasanna, Shruti, Srija. Can you tell me the primary site for the exchange of gases? Primary site for the exchange of gases. Yes, Naveen, bache, what's the doubt? Primary site for exchange of gases, of course, alveoli. Right, alveoli. So obviously air will come, right? So within the alveoli, so basically alveoli. So alveoli is vascularized, right? We'll discuss it one by one. If you are reading this chapter for the first time, maybe you will feel that, yeah, ma'am, you are a little faster because it is a one shot. It's a revision session. You can see my detailed session on this channel as well, okay? Don't worry about that. So obviously we are going to inhale. So it is the alveoli which is the primary site for exchange of gases. And we know that when we talk about the respiratory membrane, right, when we talk about the respiratory surface, bache, that respiratory surface will be thin. It will be moist. It will be vascularized. It will be having abundant blood supply, right? Right? It will be permeable to gases. Okay, or you can say that it should be. It should be. Okay. So alveoli, they are vascularized. They have abundant blood supply. So in lungs, right, partial pressure of oxygen is high, partial pressure of CO2 is low. In the blood capillary, partial pressure of oxygen is low, partial pressure of CO2 is high. So here the exchange of gases will be done. Right, here the exchange of gases will be done. Clear, bache? What will be done here? The exchange of gases will be done, bache. So obviously this blood will carry that oxygen to the tissues. Okay, so see, this is the next step. So first step is this breathing. Second step is diffusion of gases across alveolar membrane. Then transport of gases by the blood. We know that blood is the connective tissue and that is the role of blood. Then bache, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and tissue. Okay, diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and tissues. And finally there will be the utilization of the oxygen. Okay, utilization of the oxygen by the cells for catabolic reaction. So the last step is cellular respiration, right? That cells are going to use the oxygen, right, bache, to oxidize the glucose and for the energy production. Clear, bache? And for the energy production. So this is what respiration is. These are the steps of respiration and breathing is the first step. Is that clear? Breathing is the first step. Is it clear? Okay. So just for your quick revision, because I said I'll pick up important topics only, but it is just for your quick revision. Obviously, here in this chapter also, bache, here in this chapter also, Naveen, we have to relate it with the animal kingdom also. Right? No doubt it is the human physiology, but we have to relate it with the animal kingdom also. So we know that we talk about porifera, cnidaria, right, coelenterata, ctenophora, platyhelminths, right? Don't worry, we'll revise it again and again. Esculminths, Annelida, right? So porifera, cnidaria, ctenophora, platyhelminth, esculminth, Annelida, right? Then Arthropoda, the largest phylum of animal kingdom. Then there is mollusca. Okay, so be ready for the homework, students. Then there will be Echinodermata, Hemichordata. And when we talk about the chordates, we have many options, right? We'll be talking about the fishes, right? We'll be talking about the amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals. Isn't it? Right, students? Isn't it? Yes. So, see, when you talk about the porifera, obviously it's a very simple organism. So, we will move from simplicity to the complexity. So, porifera, cnidaria, ctenophora, platyhelminth, esculminth, Annelida, Arthropoda, right? So, up to this esculminth, right? Up to esculminth. So, basically, see, porifera, right? Do you know that cellular level of organization? In porifera, what do we have? Yes, Akanksha, Naveen, Mani, Shruti, yes, Sai bache. What do we have in porifera? Cellular level of organization? Cellular level of organization, cnidaria and ctenophora. Tissue level of organization, platyhelminths. Organ level of organization, esculminth, organ system. But they are still the simple kind of organism. So in their case, general body surface, the exchange of gases will be done by a diffusion, of course, but through general body surface. So they do not have a proper respiratory organ. Okay, they do not have, yes bache, Naveen, Pavitra, they do not have a proper respiratory organ. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes, they do not have a proper respiratory organ, but through the general body surface, the exchange of gases will be done. I'll give you one example. Like in the case of porifera, cellular level of organization is there. It is a multicellular body. So this plasma membrane, okay, this plasma membrane, this plasma lemma, the exchange of gases will be done via this plasma membrane. Okay. Understood? So it is the general body surface through which the gaseous exchange will occur, right bache? It is the general body surface through which the gaseous exchange will occur, right? But there is no proper respiratory organ. Understood? There is no proper respiratory organ. Understood? Yes? Understood? So now next is your Annelida. Okay, next is your Annelida. So Annelida, can you just quote one example of Annelida? Can you just quote one example of Annelida? Any one example? So Annelida means we are talking about the earthworm. I'm just asking for one example. Earthworm. Other than earthworm, Nereis is also there. Leech is also there. So Annelida, right? Annelida. Here it will be the moist cuticle. Okay, earthworm, you know na, farmer's friend. Moist cuticle. Then Arthropoda. So students, Arthropoda is the first. Clear bache? Yes, Arthropoda, the largest phylum of animal kingdom. So it is the first, right? It is the largest phylum of animal kingdom, plus it is the first phylum in which we will see a proper respiratory organ. In which we are going to see a proper respiratory organ. So if you remember insects, you remember this lecture of cockroach? In that also we have discussed that. So there is a tracheal system. There is a tracheal system, a network of tubes, right, that will carry the air, isn't it? Isn't it? So if you talk about the spider, okay, spider, yeah, that is class Arachnida, So we'll see book, what? Book gills or book lungs? What are we going to see here? Book gills or book lungs? Yes, we are going to see book lungs. Okay, right, bache? So now there are other examples also. So now when you talk about mollusca, right, shell bearing organisms, snail, okay, shell bearing organisms, snail. So in mollusca we'll see Ctenidia. Okay, we'll see Ctenidia. What will be the word, students? Ctenidia, Ctenidia. So it is plural, Ctenidia is plural, and Ctenidium, Ctenidium is singular. Okay, Ctenidia is plural, Ctenidium is singular. Clear, bache? Ctenidia is plural, Ctenidium is singular, right, bache? So they are very thin, right, filament like gills. Okay, so it is not just meant for exchange of gases but for breathing and excretion. You can note it down, it is also a previous year question. Okay, so breathing and excretion, breathing and excretion. So in echinodermata you have the example of starfish, if you don't remember that. So tube feet, okay, tube feet mostly, yeah, they are used, but yes, in some cases we also see some dermal branchiae. Okay, hemichordata, the pharyngeal gill slits, right, they have that gill slits by which the exchange will be done. In the case of fishes, we know that gills. Amphibians, let's take the example of frog. Okay, let's take the example of frog. So in the case of frog, we know that lungs, skin, and even if you talk about the larva will have gills, right, larva, that is tadpole, it is having gills. And bache, in the case of frog, buccopharyngeal cavity is also used for the exchange of gases. Understood? Buccopharyngeal cavity is also used for the exchange of gases. Understood? Understood? And from these reptile, apes to mammals, because reptiles, they are the successful terrestrial organisms, no? They are the successful terrestrial organisms, no? So in their case, what do we have? Lungs. Right? What do we have? Lungs. Clear, bache? What do we have? We have lungs. Clear? Okay. So the next thing that you need to remember is, right, if gills are used for respiration, so then it will be branchial respiration. It will be branchial respiration. Yes, if lungs are used for respiration, it will be, yes, bache, it will be pulmonary respiration. Okay, so gills, branchial respiration, lungs, pulmonary respiration. If skin is used, bache, it will be cutaneous respiration. What will be the word? It will be cutaneous respiration. So ultimately, exchange of gases will be done by a, right, bache, exchange of gases will be done by a, yes, it will be done by a diffusion. Understood? It will be done by a diffusion. Understood? Understood? Okay. So now let's revise it with me, right? This is a very basic topic. Let's talk about the human respiratory system. So you all are aware of this diagram, right? You all know it very well. You all know it very well. The pair of lungs. Okay? The pair of lungs. Can you see that? So when we see this side, right? It is your right lung. It is your right lung. Right, bache? So this right lung will be having 3 lobes. Okay, it will be having 3 lobes. There are 2 fissures which are going to divide it, and it will be having 3 lobes. So this lung will be shorter and broader. Shorter and broader. Now left lung. It will be longer and narrower. It will be longer and narrower, and it will be having 2 lobes only. Understood? Lungs. So now in between the lungs, there is a space. Can you see that space? In between the lungs, there is a space. There is a space. So this space is known as mediastinum. In between the lungs, there is a space. That space is known as mediastinum. Clear, bache? That space is known as mediastinum. And here in this space, the heart is present. Right, here in this space, the heart is present. So heart is present in the center, a little bit pushed towards the left side. Okay, a little bit pushed towards the left side. So this, in this case, this heart, its upper broader part is towards the right side, its narrower part tilted, right, it is tilted towards the left side. Can you see it? Can you see it? Right, so right lobe, it is shorter and broader, left lobe, it is longer and narrower, and here in between these two lungs, there is the space, we call it as mediastinum. Heart is present there. It is not just heart, the esophagus will also pass through it, the thymus will also thymus will also be there, right. So it is the heart, right, it is the heart. So we know that the heart is in the center, a bit pushed towards the left side. So here in this left side, what will we see? This. What is it? Yes, students, what is it? It is the, in left lung you will see the cardiac notch. Okay, so heart is bit pushed towards the left side. So left lung will have this notch like structure, we call it as cardiac notch, right? We call it as cardiac notch. So students, any doubt? Yes, do you have any doubt? Right, so it is something very basic which we are going to start when we inhale. So in today's class, it is ultimately yoga that we are going to do, है ना? It's more like a yoga class. So how are we going to inhale? Obviously from external nostrils, right? External nostrils. For nostrils, we also use the word nares. Then bache, then this nose. It is the nasal cavity. Right, Megha? It is the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity. Let's say this is your nose. External nares. Nasal cavity, it is having a septum in between. It is having a septum in between. So nasal cavity, it is having a septum, and that is why we will see two nasal chambers here. So this is the nasal septum here. Okay. And here we know that bache, hair will be there, sebaceous glands will be there. So they will help in filtering out the air, right? Yes, it will help in filtering out the air. Yes or no? Tell me, yes or no? It will help in filtering out the air, yes or no? Yes. So if there will be any dust particles, it is going to trap it and it will help in filtering out the air. So you can see the nasal septum, okay? You all can see the nasal septum in between. So this nasal septum, students, it is basically cartilaginous. It is made up of hyaline cartilage. Which cartilage is going to make it? Hyaline cartilage. Please mark it. It is important. So external nares, nasal chamber या nasal cavity, followed by there will be internal nares. There will be internal nares. Nares or nostril, one and the same thing. Then bache, there will be pharynx. What will be there? There will be pharynx. Right, bache? What will be there? There will be pharynx. So now just for your quick revision, right? Just for your quick revision, please note down. When we use the word pharynx, okay? When we use the word pharynx, what is the word? The word is pharynx. The word is pharynx. So it is having three parts, and that is known. Right? It is having three parts, that is known. Everyone, please repeat it in the chat section. It is having three parts, that is known. Right? Done, bache? Yes? Okay, so three parts. Known. What is it? It is known. So nasopharynx, oropharynx, and then it is the laryngopharynx. So nasopharynx, oropharynx, and it is the laryngopharynx. Nasopharynx, oropharynx, and it is the laryngopharynx. These are the three. Okay, these are the three parts of pharynx. Right? These are the three parts of pharynx. Naso, oro, laryngo. Naso, oro, laryngo. Naso, oro, laryngo. Understood? So from internal nares, the air will pass to the nasopharynx, then to oropharynx, then to laryngopharynx, of course. Then to laryngopharynx, of course. Now I'll ask you another question, students. Okay. Chalo. Here we have our Mr. Chintu. Okay? Here we have our Mr. Chintu. Chintu is not looking like Chintu, but chalo koi baat nahi. We'll manage. Right? So Mr. Chintu. So here we have the nose of Mr. Chintu and this is the mouth. This is the mouth part. Okay? This is the mouth part. So obviously Chintu is going to eat something. That food will pass to the buccal cavity. That food will pass to the buccal cavity. Yes or no? No doubt digestion and absorption chapter is not the part of syllabus anymore, but this is something very basic. Hai na? So basically from mouth, if we are going to eat something, that will pass to buccal cavity, also known as oral cavity. Right? Buccal cavity also known as oral cavity. Then it will pass to the pharynx. Right, bache? Pharynx. Okay. So pharynx is the common part. Right? It is common for food as well as for the air. So basically we are having three parts of pharynx. Nasopharynx, oropharynx, then comes the laryngopharynx. So it is the oropharynx that will receive both the food as well as the air first. Okay, bache? It is going to receive the food as well as the air first. What will it do? It will receive the food as well as the air first. Then that will go to the laryngopharynx. Okay? Now, bache, this is our ventral side. Okay? This is our ventral side. This is dorsal side. This is ventral side. Dorsal side, ventral side. Yes or no, guys? Dorsal side, ventral side, and then we have the lateral side. Again, let's repeat it with me. Dorsal side, ventral side, lateral side. Dorsal side, ventral side, lateral side. Right, bache? So basically, towards ventral side, what will we see? Let's say this is your, right, just for your understanding, I'm making such diagrams. Let's say this is your laryngopharynx. What is it? It is your laryngopharynx. So that laryngopharynx, right, ventrally, there will be two things, right? Or you can say that there will be two parts. Okay. So laryngopharynx, and then here we will have larynx, and then there will be the trachea. It is towards the ventral side, right? Which side I'm talking? Here it is the ventral side. So laryngopharynx, then it will proceed into the larynx and then into the trachea. Okay. Just behind this trachea here, we have the esophagus. What do we have here, students? We have the esophagus, right? Esophagus. So this pharynx is common. It will receive, the oropharynx will receive food and air, then further it will pass. So this laryngopharynx, right, towards this ventral side, it will lead into this larynx, then into trachea, and just behind this trachea, it will lead into this esophagus. Are you able to understand? So opening of esophagus, what is the word that we use for opening of esophagus? It is gullet. It is gullet. And when you talk about the larynx, the opening of larynx, it is known as the glottis. It is known as the glottis. Opening of larynx is known as the, yes, Mehana, it is known as the glottis. So basically I want to say that your pharynx, it will receive food as well as air. We know that food should pass to this trachea. The food should pass to this food pipe, right? That is your esophagus, and air should pass to the this trachea, the windpipe. Okay, bache, the windpipe. So now what we need to remember, see, very simple. When we swallow the food, because we don't want our food to enter here in trachea. Do you want your food to enter in trachea? Yes. Do you want your food to enter in trachea? Tell me quickly. Do you want your food to enter in trachea? Of course not. You don't want that. You want your food to enter here in esophagus. So when we swallow the food, right, when we engulf the food, when we swallow the food, right, bache, so at that time, this glottis, which is the opening of larynx, it is covered with, right, it will get covered with a cartilaginous flap, and we will call it epiglottis. We will call it epiglottis. Okay, like see, if you are still confused, let me tell you. Imagine, it is your larynx, then it is your trachea. Opening of larynx is known as glottis. So when we swallow the food, because we want our food to enter in the food pipe, we don't want our food to enter here in trachea, otherwise it can, you know, suffocate our system, we can also die. That is why it is advised, right? Our mother, our elders, they always say that do not talk while eating the food. Okay, so this is the glottis, the opening of the larynx. So when we swallow the food, a cartilaginous flap is going to cover that glottis, and we are going to call that flap as, this black colored flap as epiglottis, right? What will we call it? It is epiglottis. Okay, it is epiglottis. So if you ever get confused, epi means above, so it is something which is above glottis, so means it is a lid, it's a kind of lid, right? So it is, this epiglottis is what? It's a cartilaginous flap. Okay, it is made up of cartilages, it's a cartilaginous flap. Any doubt? Yes? Any doubt? Tell me, any doubt? Sure, bache? So epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap. So we were writing this. So external nostril, nasal cavity, internal nostril. Then can I write it like this? Nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx, larynx, and then there is trachea. Can I say so? Yes. Can I say so? So it is that passage, passage of air. It is that conducting zone. So external nasal cavity, internal naso, oro, laryngo, larynx and trachea. So here, please have a look. Please have a look. See this, epiglottis. Epiglottis. So this is the larynx here, and it is the epiglottis. Okay, epiglottis. So this one is the trachea. Okay, this one is the trachea. Understood? Tell me, understood? So see, that's the flow chart. Okay, that is the flow chart. So now bache, this, yes. Okay, so in laryngopharynx only air will pass, then oropharynx, which is common for both, then laryngopharynx via, right? So basically that laryngopharynx portion will be there majorly in the larynx. So through the pharynx, right, there are two ways, either there are two ways, one is trachea, another is food pipe. This is what you have to remember. So now bache, when you talk about the larynx, you know that this larynx is what? It is again a cartilaginous box. Right, it is again a cartilaginous box, means it is made up of cartilages. So it is also known as sound box. We are able to produce sound because of this larynx only, right? Because of this larynx only. So bache, this larynx is having the vocal cords. It is having the vocal cords. These are the folds of that skin, right? So there is upper vocal cord, which is the false vocal cord, and there is the lower vocal cord, which is the true vocal cord. So this true one will produce sound, and this one is not helping in the sound production. So actually this true vocal cord, it is responsible for phonation, or you can say that for sound production. Understood? Understood? Yes? Is it clear? Sure? Sure? So during swallowing, glottis can be covered with epiglottis, so the food will not enter there. And as I said, in the larynx, which is the sound box, it is having true and false vocal cords. So false vocal cords will just provide moisture to the true vocal cords. They are the upper one. Okay, they are the upper one. Is that clear? So you know that in the case of males, when they attain the puberty, this larynx, it will become prominent now. In the case of boys, here we see this larynx, right? Right? Yes, yes, yes. In the case of boys, here you can see now that there is a kind of outgrowth, the prominent outgrowth. So that is basically the larynx, and we call it as Adam's apple. Adam's apple. Okay. So thickness and thinness of this vocal cord is going to decide the pitch of the sound. Okay. Thickness and thinness of these vocal cord is going to decide the pitch of the sound. So this part clear, right? This part clear. So let's make the respiratory tree, but before that you can see this diagram. Okay, the lips, the buccal cavity, the nasal cavity, right bache, the pharynx here, then see this is that cartilaginous flap, epiglottis. So here it is the ventral side, it is the dorsal side. It is the ventral side, it is the dorsal side. So when you see this ventral side now, right, when you see this ventral side now, so here you will see this is the larynx. So when we swallow the food, epiglottis is going to cover this glottis, the opening of larynx. Can you see that? So it is that cartilaginous flap. Okay, it is that cartilaginous flap, right? So see this larynx, the diagram. So epiglottis. So it is just showing the hyoid bone, the U-shaped bone. So basically I told you that larynx is the sound box. It is made up of cartilages. So there are different cartilages, bache. You can see its side section as well. So in the case of birds, let me tell you, in the case of birds, the sound is, syrinx is going to produce the sound. Right? In the case of birds, larynx is also present. It's not like that larynx is absent. Larynx is present, but it is playing no role in the sound production. But it is the syrinx in the case of birds that will, right? That will help in the sound production. Understood? Right? So the diagram of this larynx clear. So next is the respiratory tree. Basically, this is the complete passage of air now. We will divide it into two parts, the conducting zone and the exchange zone. One by one we will discuss it, okay? One by one we will discuss it. And let me, so in next 10 minutes we will start, your mechanism of breathing, okay? Mechanism of breathing, and then we will move very quickly. So any doubt up to this part? Any doubt up to this part? Chalo, allow me 1 minute, students. Allow me 1 minute. Yes, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay, so we are going to make the respiratory tree and we are going to start from the trachea. So what is trachea? Tell me, what is trachea? What is trachea? Trachea is the windpipe. Trachea is the windpipe, isn't it? Isn't it? Chalo, let's write it. Let's make the respiratory tree. So we will talk about the trachea, which is the windpipe, just after the larynx. So bache, this trachea will bifurcate. Okay, this trachea, it will bifurcate. So basically, see, Mr. Chintu, okay, dorsal side of Chintu, ventral side of Chintu. You know that dorsal side, this is our dorsal side, this is our dorsal side. So we are having the vertebral column, isn't it? What do we have on our dorsal side? We have the vertebral column, isn't it? Vertebral column. And this vertebral column is having the vertebrae. This vertebral column is having the vertebrae. So we know that there is cervical vertebra, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum or coccyx. Okay, cervical, thoracic, CTL, lumbar, sacral and coccyx. This is what we have, right? This is what we have. Yes. Now, when you talk about the ventral side pe to we are having the sternum, na, and even our trachea is towards the ventral side. So, bache, this trachea at the level of 5th thoracic vertebrae, it will bifurcate into two. This trachea, which is a tube-like structure, approximately you can say, can you just tell me about its length? Yes, can you just tell me about its length? The approximate length? Yes, can you just tell me about its length, approximate length? Anyone? It is 12.5 centimeter. So basically this trachea, it will bifurcate into two, right? And these two are what? They are the primary bronchi. What are they? They are the primary bronchi, right? These primary bronchi will further bifurcate secondary, tertiary bronchi, right? Like this. So this trachea will bifurcate at the level of, this is given in NCERT, please check it, at the level of 5th thoracic vertebrae. Right? How will it divide? It will divide at the level of 5th thoracic vertebrae. What is the meaning of this line? We know that dorsally we have the vertebral column. Right? We know that dorsally, what do we have? We have the vertebral column dorsally. Okay? So, we have the vertebrae. 7 cervical vertebrae, 12 thoracic vertebrae, 5 lumbar, 5 fused, that will form 1 sacral vertebrae, and 4 will get fused and that will form 1 coccyx vertebrae. So, as I said, thorax pe, right? How many vertebrae are there in this? How many thoracic vertebrae are there? 12. How many thoracic vertebrae are there, bache? They are 12 in number. So let's say it is like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 12. Okay? So at the level of 5th, this trachea will bifurcate into 2. Right? That is the meaning of this line from NCERT. Is that clear? That at the level of 5th thoracic vertebrae, the trachea will divide into, yes students, the trachea will divide into primary bronchi, right, at the level of 5th thoracic vertebrae, into right and left primary bronchi, isn't it? Isn't it? So let me draw that complete tree and then we will discuss it further. So trachea, then primary bronchi, then secondary bronchi, then tertiary bronchi. Yes, so primary, secondary, tertiary, terminal. Then comes the terminal bronchi. And then there will be bronchioles. So after bronchi, what do we have? We have the bronchioles. So lobular, terminal and respiratory. Right? Lobular bronchiole, terminal, then respiratory bronchiole, then respiratory bronchiole, isn't it? Isn't it? Right? So this is trachea, primary bronchi, secondary, tertiary, terminal, lobular, then terminal bronchiole, and finally the respiratory bronchiole. Right? Finally the respiratory bronchiole. So basically up to this part, right, from this, yes, from this, see, You can again revise it with me. External nares, nasal chamber, internal nares, right? Pharynx, larynx, then trachea, then primary bronchi, secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, terminal bronchi, then lobular bronchiole, then terminal bronchiole, that's the respiratory tree actually, and then finally there will be the respiratory bronchiole, alveolar duct, and finally alveoli. Understood? Understood? So it is the complete, right? It is the complete flow of air. It is the complete flow of air. Isn't it? Isn't it? So from external nostril to this terminal bronchiole, right bache? From this external nostril to this terminal bronchiole, it is the conducting zone. What's that, students? It is the conducting zone. What is it? Yes, students. What is it? It is the conducting zone. Yes, Hasini, tell me. What is it? It is the conducting zone. Is that clear? Yes? Yes? Is that clear? So it is the conducting zone. So it will just conduct the air. Okay, here there will be no exchange of gases. It is going to conduct the air only. But when you talk about this part, it is actually the exchange zone. It is the part where gaseous exchange will be done. Right? It is the part where gaseous exchange will be done. Clear, bache? Right? Will be done. Understood? What is going to happen there? The gaseous exchange will be done. Yes? Okay? Sure? Sure? Okay? So it is the conducting zone. It will just conduct the zone, conduct the air, and will tell you its function. So guys, one more thing. From trachea to, yes, see, this is the trachea. Can you see that? Can you see that? So when you talk about the trachea, so from trachea to initial bronchioles, right? You can include it in your short notes. Trachea to initial bronchioles. They all are this tube-like structure. It is lined with, let's say if this is a tube-like structure, it is lined with C-shaped cartilaginous rings, right? It is lined with C-shaped, right? C-shaped cartilaginous rings. It is lined with C-shaped cartilaginous rings. Okay, bache? Okay, so these rings are not complete. Just say, let's take the example. Let's say, I am wearing this ring, right? It is completely covering my finger. It is completely covering my finger. But let's say if I will wear something which will cover this part only or this part only, right? So these cartilaginous rings, right? These C-shaped cartilaginous rings, they are like this, right? They are C-shaped. So basically they are covering this trachea. Up to initial bronchioles, we will see these C-shaped cartilaginous rings are present. So they will make sure that due to the pressure difference, these trachea, it should not burst, right? So it is providing it a protection, right? It will not allow it to collapse, to burst. Okay? So it is providing it what? It is providing it the protection. Is that clear? Is that clear? Right? So cartilaginous rings are present here. Okay बच्चे, so from trachea to initial bronchioles, understood? From trachea to initial bronchioles, understood? Okay, and one more thing that you need to remember here is, जैसे see, trachea, primary bronchi, secondary, then tertiary, and then there is the, so this part is lined with, right? It is a question from your structural organization in animal. This part is lined with pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar glandular epithelium, right? It is lined with what? Pseudo, from this primary bronchi to this tertiary bronchi. What will you see? That it is lined with, right? It is lined with pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar glandular epithelium. It is lined with what? It is lined with what? Here I am writing. Pseudo means false. Stratified means multi-layered. Right, pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar glandular epithelium. Okay बच्चे, epithelium. So pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar glandular epithelium. So pseudo-stratified means it will look multi-layered, but it is single-layered. Okay, it looks like a multi-layered structure, but it is single-layered. So it is the modification of columnar cells only, which are tall and slender. So we will see the columnar cells. The nucleus is present at different base. The nucleus are present at different level. Plus, it will be having the cilia, and plus they are glandular. So this part will be lined by it. ठीक है बच्चे? Understood? Sure. So C-shaped cartilaginous rings and all. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right, so can you see that these are the lungs that we need to discuss further? So yes, one is the conducting zone and one is the exchange zone. Right, one is the conducting zone, one is the exchange zone. So when it is the conducting zone, right, no doubt it will conduct the air to the exchange zone. But the point is, why do we say that it is the conducting zone? What is the another function of this conducting zone, bache? What is the another function of this conducting zone? Jaise conducting zone is from external nares to, yes, bronchioles it is going to conduct the air, yes or no? It is going to conduct the air, yes or no? So what will it do? Yes bache. So it will filter, warm and moisten the air and conduct the air to the lungs. Okay? It will filter, warm and moisten the air and will conduct it to the lungs. Understood? Will conduct it to the lungs. Understood? Plus, bache, whatever air we are going to inhale, especially here in your nasal passage, in your nasal chamber, right? We know that bones are there, na? Matlab there are some outgrowths, right? There are some outgrowths. Okay, so they will make sure that surface area increases. So whatever air we are going to inhale, it will bring it down to the body temperature, right? It is going to bring it down to the body temperature. Is that clear? It will bring it down to the body temperature. That is also you need to remember. So external nares or to terminal bronchiole, that will be the role of this conducting zone. Right, bache? So now we know that lungs, where these lungs are present, these lungs are present. I already told you, right, that there are two lobes. So where these lungs are present, they are present in the thoracic cavity. They are present in the thoracic cavity, and it is protected by the thoracic cage and the rib cage. Who's going to protect the lungs? Thoracic cage and the rib cage. And it is a kind of anatomically airtight chamber. What kind of, like, it is basically this part, this rib cage is basically an airtight chamber, right? So just say we have the airtight containers now, which will not allow the air to come in, right? So whatever we are storing in that containers, that will not acquire the moisture. Okay? So same is the case here. So thoracic cavity mein, what do we have? The thoracic cage, right? Lungs are present in this thoracic cage, which is also known as rib cage. So just have a look. Just have a look, right? So dorsal side pe, what will you see? vertebral column. What will you see? Vertebral column. Okay, basically it is protecting the lungs also. Lungs are the soft organ. Vertebral column. And if I have to be very specific, so you will see thoracic vertebrae. Right, ventral side pe bache, there will be sternum, which is also known as breastbone. Which is also known as breastbone. Just see this side. Here we have the sternum, breastbone. Right, dorsally the vertebral column. Laterally ribs. So lateral side pe what is there? Ribs. Ribs are present. And bache posteriorly, right, downwards, what will you see? You will see the diaphragm. What will be there? There will be a diaphragm. There will be a diaphragm. Okay, okay, can you see that? So sternum, ribs, vertebral column, and then there will be a diaphragm. There will be a diaphragm. So it is a thoracic cage, rib cage. One question can directly come from this part. Okay, one question can directly come from this part. Okay, bache, so posteriorly diaphragm is there. Now what is this diaphragm? It is having a very important role in the breathing. Okay, what is this diaphragm? Wait, just imagine, see, I am using this free space. This is the thoracic cavity in which lungs, heart and everything is present. Here we have the abdominal cavity. So in between these two, there will be a muscular tissue. In between these two, what do we have here? In between these two, there is a muscular tissue that is known as diaphragm. That is known as diaphragm. What is it? It is the diaphragm. So thoracic cavity, abdominal cavity, it is divided by this diaphragm. It's a muscular tissue, bache, and it is unique to mammals. Okay, this muscular tissue will be there in the mammals only. It is unique to mammals. So it is going to play a role in the mechanism of breathing. So up to this part all clear. Up to this part all clear. So again I am repeating, the lungs are present in the rib cage and it is anatomically airtight chamber. Okay bache, it is anatomically airtight chamber. Okay, so just have a look of these lungs, the right lobe and the left lobe. So bache, lungs are also covered with a covering. Right, you know the lungs, they are soft, pinkish at the time of birth. Right, they are soft, pinkish at the time of birth. Right, so what are they? They are soft, pinkish at the time of birth. So two lobes are there. So another thing is this, when you talk about the lungs, they are covered with two coverings. Okay? One is your outer pleural membrane. One is your outer pleural membrane. So it is also known as parietal pleural membrane. It is also known as parietal pleural membrane. One is outer pleural membrane. It is also known as parietal pleural membrane. So it is also known as pleuron. It is also known as pleuron. Clear bache? Outer pleural membrane. Then what do we have? We have inner pleural membrane. Okay? Inner pleural membrane. So this inner pleural membrane is also known as visceral pleural membrane. So pleural membrane is covering the lungs. Okay bache? Pleural membrane is covering the lungs, and in between these two, can you see that? Can you see that? So this is the pleural cavity having pleural fluid. Understood? It is the pleural cavity having pleural fluid. So lungs are covered with it. Clear bache? Lungs are covered with it. Okay bache? So what is the role of this pleural fluid here? It will reduce the friction and it will make the movement of lungs easy. Okay? It will reduces the friction. So it reduces friction and make lungs movement easy. Okay? Doubt? Doubt? Exactly. Right, so left lung having this cardiac notch. So any doubt, if you guys are having any doubt, please feel free to ask, because after it we are going to start the mechanism of breathing. Yes, after it we will start the mechanism of breathing. Quick. Guys, stop chit chatting and answer the questions. Answer the questions. Okay, so next is alveoli, we will discuss later. So see this, the trachea, the diaphragm. So this setup is in such a way, bache, this rib cage and all, it is anatomically airtight chamber. Wait, I'll highlight this. So see, so you can even highlight the NCERT. So the conducting part transports the atmospheric air to the alveoli, clears it from foreign particles, humidify it, bring the air to the body temperature, right? And in the exchange side, basically actually the diffusion will occur. Okay, actually the diffusion will occur. Okay, bache? Okay, so lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, which is anatomically an airtight chamber. Okay? Lungs are situated in the thoracic chamber, which is anatomically an airtight chamber. Understood? Sure? Sure, bache? So if you will read these lines from NCERT, please pay attention, right? Please pay attention. So what are they saying? The thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by vertebral column. The thoracic chamber is formed dorsally by vertebral column, ventrally by the sternum, laterally by the ribs, and lower side pe there is a dome shaped diaphragm, right? There is a dome shaped diaphragm. So this next line is very important. This next line is very important. Okay, bache? I mean, all the things that I am highlighting now, they all are important, but this next part is very important because it is going to explain something related to the mechanism of breathing. So because after this, that's the topic that we are going to start. Okay, mechanism of breathing. So the anatomical setup of lungs in the thorax, the anatomical setup of lungs in the thorax is such that any change in the volume of thoracic cavity will be reflected in the lung cavity. Will be reflected in the lung cavity. Right? Anatomical setup of lungs in thorax is such that any change in the volume of thoracic cavity, it will reflect in the lung cavity. So let me explain it. See, your lungs, where are they present? Obviously in the thoracic cavity. They are in the thoracic cavity. But your lungs, right? They cannot change their volume, right? They cannot change their volume by itself, right? Because they are present in this thoracic cavity, in that thoracic cage, their arrangement is in such a way that if there will be any change in the volume of this thoracic cavity, it will reflect there in the lungs. Just two things which are directly proportional. For an example, if I will increase the difficulty level of the paper, the cutoff will increase or decrease? The cutoff will increase or decrease? Tell me. The cutoff will increase or decrease? Yes? Yes? Tell me quickly. The cutoff will decrease if the difficulty level is more. है ना? So means these two things are dependent on each other in one way or another way. Okay, these two things, they are dependent on each other one way or another way. So same is the point here. I am saying that if they now they are directly proportional. Just cutoff and difficulty level is inversely proportional. One is increasing, another is decreasing. But here I am saying that if there is any increase in the thoracic cavity, if there is an increase in the volume of thoracic cavity, the lungs are arranged in this thoracic cavity in such a way, if there is any change in the volume of thoracic cavity, that will reflect in the lung cavity, also in the pulmonary cavity. Let's say the volume of thoracic cavity increases, right? If it increases, right, then volume of lung cavity, the pulmonary cavity will also increase. Are you able to understand it? Yes, are you able to understand it? Can you understand that? Right. So that is why bache that last line is given ki anatomical setup of lungs is in the thoracic cavity is such that if there is any change in the thoracic cavity, that will reflect in the lung cavity. Right. So we cannot say that lungs will directly alter their volume. No, not at all. Right. The change in the volume in the thoracic cavity, right, will cause the same change in the volume of the pulmonary cavity as well. This point clear? Sure. ठीक. So now we are going to start the mechanism of breathing, but before starting that mechanism of breathing, we really need to understand few things. Okay? So one thing that you all know is diffusion. The another thing that you should know is Boyle's law. Right? It is Boyle's law. So what do you know about this law? Right? Boyle's law. So as per this law, volume and pressure are inversely proportional to each other. Volume and pressure, they are inversely proportional to each other. Volume and pressure, they are inversely proportional to each other. Means if there is an increase in volume, the pressure will decrease. If there is a decrease in volume, the pressure will increase. So both of them, they are inversely proportional to each other. Okay, if one will increase, another will decrease. Now students, we need to inhale. Right? Inspiration, inhalation. Okay? Understand this please. Inspiration, inhalation, it's same. If we want to inhale, okay, if we want to inhale, what do we need? Right? It will be done by a diffusion. We all are aware of it. It will be done by a diffusion. Yes or no? What's going to happen here? The diffusion. What is going to happen here? The diffusion. Right? So inspiration and inhalation, that's the word. And what will happen, bache? Diffusion will occur. Right? So basically we know that in atmospheric, yes, so basically what do we need? That in atmospheric air, the pressure should be, right, high, and within the lungs, the pressure should be low. Right? Then only we can inhale. You answer it to me. If I want to inhale outside, the pressure should be more. Within the lungs, the pressure should be less. Within the lungs, the pressure should be less. But you say yes or no at least. Right? Say yes or no at least. Of course, yes. If I want to inhale, right, so within the lungs, the pressure should be less, and outside in the atmosphere, the pressure should be more. So if I have to, right, reduce the pressure of my lungs or of my pulmonary cavity, I need to increase the volume. Am I right? I need to increase the volume. Am I right? Ultimately, it is the diffusion, and I am saying that if we want to inhale, so outside the pressure should be more, inside the pressure should be less. So if I have to decrease the pressure, I have to increase the pressure. If I have to decrease the pressure, I have to increase the volume. Right? I have to increase the volume, and that will be done in inspiration. Okay, that will be done in inspiration. So before starting this part, let's see. When we say air, what is air? Air is a mixture of gases. Air is a mixture of gases. In air, it's not just the oxygen, CO2, nitrogen, and some other components are also there. So if I am talking about the pressure of air, okay? If I am talking about the pressure of air, so that pressure is due to this oxygen, CO2, nitrogen, and due to the other components also. And due to that other components also. Am I right or wrong? Hanji, Hasini, tell me everyone. Tell me. If I am talking about the, yes, air, the pressure of air, it is not just because, it is because of all the components present. Right? It is because of all the components present. Yes or no? Yes or no? Of course, na? Of course, due to other components also. Right? So, right now when we inhale, we need oxygen only, and we need to exhale CO2 only. ठीक है. In our body the metabolism is there, the chemical reactions are there in our body, है ना. Metabolism is there in our body, chemical reactions are there in our body, and after that chemical reactions we know what's going to happen, right? We know what's going to happen after that chemical reactions, students. The CO2 is the metabolic waste, isn't it? It is the CO2 that is the metabolic waste. Okay, the CO2 will be released and we have to inhale the oxygen. So obviously we will discuss about the partial pressure of oxygen and CO2, which is the component of air. So when we talk about the component pressure of a component, we use the word partial pressure. Which word are we going to use, students? We will be using the word partial pressure. So partial pressure of oxygen, right? Partial pressure of CO2. This is what we are going to use, right? Not the pressure word. So pressure, right? Pressure of air is due to the pressure of oxygen, CO2, nitrogen. So I am just talking about the pressure of oxygen, which is the component of that mixture of gases. So that's why we'll use the word partial pressure. We'll use the word partial pressure. That's the first point. Okay. So again, as I said, if I want to inhale, right? So within the lungs, the pressure should be low, isn't it? So you know that pressure and volume, they are inversely proportional to each other, right? So obviously if the pressure should be low, then it means I have to increase the volume, right? We have to focus on the volume thing. Okay, bache? We have to focus on the volume thing. So now come to this part. So here our lungs are present like this in the rib cage. Yes, our lungs are present in the rib cage. Our lungs, they are present in the rib cage. है ना? So see, these are the ribs, है ना? These are the ribs. So in between these ribs there are muscles, right? Just let's say if this is one rib, this is another rib. This is one rib, this is another rib. Okay? So in between these ribs there are muscles, and we call such muscles intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscles. What's the name for it? What's the name for it? Intercostal muscles. Am I right? What is the name for it? It is intercostal muscles. है ना बच्चे? Intercostal muscles they are. Right? Intercostal muscles they are. ठीक है? Now, in between the ribs. ठीक है? So, see. ठीक है, चलो I'll give you one example. Let's say these are two ribs. ठीक है, these are two ribs. I told you in between the ribs muscles are there and we are calling it as intercostal muscles. So the muscles which are towards the exterior side, what are you going to call it? You are going to call it as external intercostal muscles because they are towards exterior side. So can I call it as external intercostal muscles? External intercostal muscles? Yes ma'am. Right. So now see, these are the ribs. Okay. So now you are going to see it from the inside. Right. So outer side pe you have external intercostal muscle. Now from inner side when you will see, it will have another muscles. Right. Internal intercostal muscles. So these are the ribs. Right. In between there are muscles. So the muscle which is towards the external side, external intercostal muscle, towards the internal side, internal intercostal muscles. Understood? Right. So intercostal muscles, they are of two types. One is external intercostal muscles. So for intercostal muscles, let's use the short form ICM. So external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles. Okay, internal ICM. First thing. Now, we know that the diaphragm is present here posteriorly. The dome shaped diaphragm is present here posteriorly. We know it. We know it. So this diaphragm is also having the muscles, peripheral muscles of the diaphragm, right? The peripheral muscles of the diaphragm. I told you now, this diaphragm which is dividing this thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity, it will also play role in the breathing, right? It is going to play role in the breathing. Yes, bache? It is going to play role in the breathing. Take it, this diaphragm. So during inspiration, what do we need? Firstly, one thing that you should know is that inspiration is for 2 seconds. We are going to inhale for 2 seconds. We are talking about per breath, 2 seconds. And it is an active process. What is the meaning of an active process? What is the meaning of an active process? That it will use energy. It will use energy, first point. Secondly, there are muscles which will help in the inspiration, because during inspiration, what do we want? We want volume should be, pressure should be less and volume should be more. This is what we want for inspiration. The pressure should be low, the volume should be high. Okay? So when bache, so first thing is inspiration, it is for 2 seconds, it is an active process. Second thing is, there are muscles which will help in increasing the volume. They are inspiratory muscles. Inspiratory muscles. Which muscles are they? They are inspiratory muscles. So here we are going to talk about external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm muscles. है ना? Muscles of the diaphragm. Yeah, diaphragm is itself muscular tissue, so external intercostal muscle and diaphragm. So they are the inspiratory muscles. So why am I saying that it is the inspiratory muscles? Because it will contract during inspiration, right? These are the muscles that will contract during inspiration. Okay, these are the muscles that will contract during inspiration. Is that clear? Is that clear? Is that clear? So we are going to learn this topic, and right, firstly we have to learn 2 dance steps. Okay, one is this. Firstly you have to keep your hand like this. Okay, second is this. Okay, chalo, repeat karo. These are the 2 steps that you need to learn. One is this. Okay, second is this. Okay, ready? Tell me. Ready? Quick. Are you ready for it? Firstly you have. Quick. Done? These are the 2 steps. Okay, now ma'am, what is it? Very simple. Dekho. Firstly, let's talk about the diaphragm. Your diaphragm muscles, it will contract during inspiration. It is going to contract during inspiration. So diaphragm, it was dome shaped, right? Diaphragm was dome shaped. Diaphragm, it was dome shaped. So this dome shaped diaphragm, what will it do? It will contract, it will become flat. Okay, it will become flat during inspiration, right? Imagine it like this. Let's say it is your thoracic cavity. It is your thoracic cavity. So your diaphragm, it was dome shaped. Now the diaphragm muscles, they are going to contract. So after the contraction, right? After the contraction, don't you think, so because after the contraction, the diaphragm will become flat. So this can also be asked as a question in your NEET. Right, that during the inspiration, what is the position of diaphragm? Is it dome shaped or flat? It will be flat. So don't you think that this is going to increase the volume towards this axis? Don't you think that it will increase the volume towards this axis? Yes? Tell me quickly. Don't you think that it is going to increase the volume towards this axis? Obviously, so it is the anterior posterior axis. So diaphragm muscles, when they will contract, they will increase the volume towards anterior posterior axis, right, towards anterior posterior axis. ठीक है, they will increase the volume towards anterior posterior axis. Am I right? Am I right? Of course, ma'am. Of course. Now, so first dance step. So it means diaphragm was dome shaped. When these muscles will contract, diaphragm will become flat. Diaphragm was dome shaped. When the muscles will contract, it will become flat. So that is going to happen in the inspiration. Now, what about these external intercostal muscles? What will they do? So when these external intercostal muscles, when they will contract, now what is going to happen? Right, during their contraction, bache, right, during their contraction, right, the rib cage will move. See, the step is this. This means outward and upward. Outward and upward. Right, the rib cage will move outward and upward. Just imagine. So students, imagine here you have your ribs. These are the external intercostal muscles. So when they contract, they are contracting. They will move that rib cage outward, right, and upward. Okay? Outward, upward. Understood? Outward, upward. Understood? Yes. Is it clear? Outward, upward. So if that's the case, like see, this is the rib cage, outward, upward. These are the external intercostal muscles. Can you see that? These are the external intercostal muscles. So earlier diaphragm, the rib cage was here, outward and upward it is going to move. So if you will imagine, right, so towards this axis, right, just say, let's say if this is the rib cage, this is the sternum, these are the ribs, right, so obviously outward, upward. So basically if you want to imagine it, right, so diaphragm, because it will become flat, so it will increase the volume towards anterior posterior axis, and when these external intercostal muscles will contract, they will increase the volume towards dorsoventral axis. Okay, they'll increase the volume towards dorsoventral axis. Okay, towards dorsoventral axis. Okay, it will increase the volume towards dorsoventral axis. So overall, when there is an increase in the volume, the pressure will decrease. So can I say that during inspiration, intrapulmonary pressure means pressure within the lungs. Can I say that intrapulmonary pressure within the lungs is negative? Can I say so? It is negative intrapulmonary pressure. Yes, students. Can I say so that it will be the negative intrapulmonary pressure? Yes? I think it's a yes, right? It will be the negative intrapulmonary pressure. Okay? So volume will increase, pressure will decrease, the air will come in, right? The air will come in. Now let's talk about the expiration. So in expiration, basically it is the opposite. Okay, so when we exhale, it is the opposite. So first of all, it is passive. It will not take energy. It is for 3 seconds. Okay? So during expiration, bache, your external intercostal muscle, it will relax. Right? Because it will relax. So what will be the position of rib cage? Question like this can come. It will be downward and inward. Right? That will be downward and inward. Understood? That will be downward and inward. And secondly, the diaphragm muscles. Secondly, the diaphragm muscles. So diaphragm muscles, what is going to happen to the diaphragm muscles? They will also relax. So diaphragm will again become dome shaped. So obviously what will happen? The volume will decrease, the pressure will increase, and CO2 will be released. CO2 will be released. So that is going to happen here. Okay? Now if it is forceful expiration, जैसे yoga, you are exhaling forcefully. So if it is forceful expiration, okay, so when it is forceful expiration, then forceful expiration is active, bachche. So here your internal inspiratory muscles will also contract. Okay, internal intercostal muscles will contract because we have to increase the volume more. So internal intercostal muscles will decrease the volume more. So internal intercostal muscles will contract. ठीक है बच्चे, they will further contract. ठीक है, even the abdominal muscles will also contract. ठीक है, even the abdominal muscles will also contract. Okay, so when it is the forceful expiration, it is active, then it is not passive. So these are the direct PYQs. Okay, these are the direct PYQs. Understood? So one more thing is there, bache. So see, firstly look at this diagram, then we will revise it from NCERT. Right, we will revise it from NCERT. Yes? Okay, so can you see that inhalation, muscles contract, exhalation, muscles relax, it is passive. So see, breathing involved two stages, bache, inspiration and expiration. Okay, so one atmospheric air is drawn in and the alveolar air will be released. Okay, bache, so movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient. Means there should be a difference in the pressure, right? Where? Between the lungs and the atmosphere. Between the lungs and the atmosphere. Clear, bache? Between the lungs and the atmosphere. Right? So inspiration can occur if the pressure within the lungs, right? If the pressure within the lungs, okay, is less than the atmospheric pressure. If the pressure within the lungs is less than the atmospheric pressure, then what is going to happen? Inspiration will happen, and this is the negative pressure. We will call it that within the lungs the pressure is negative. So if you guys have noticed, when we were changing the volume of the thoracic cavity, it was reflecting in the change in the volume of the pulmonary cavity. So this setup is in such a way. Okay, in our body, this setup is in such a way. Okay, so expiration takes place when the intrapulmonary pressure is higher than the atmospheric pressure. So diaphragm and specialized set of muscles, external and internal, they will help in that. Okay, so here you people can see that inspiration is initiated by contraction of diaphragm. So when diaphragm will contract, the volume of chamber, thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis will increase. ठीक है बच्चे, so contraction of external intercostal muscles lifts up the ribs, right? Lifts up the ribs and sternum, causing an increase in the volume of thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. So overall volume will increase, pressure will decrease, and we will inhale. ठीक है, so relaxation of diaphragm and intercostal muscles return the diaphragm and sternum to their normal position, reduce the volume. Right, thereby the pulmonary reduce the thoracic volume, thereby the pulmonary volume, because they are related, of course, right? So the intrapulmonary pressure will increase, bache, slightly above the atmospheric pressure, and obviously exhalation will occur. Okay, so one thing that we have the ability to increase the strength of inspiration and expiration with the help of additional muscles in the abdomen. Right, so in the abdomen there are some additional muscles that will help in increasing the strength of inspiration and expiration, bache. So that is what we have to remember. Okay, that is what we have to remember. So on an average, a healthy individual breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. On an average, without any conscious effort, 12 to 16 times per minute. ठीक है, so बच्चे next topic that we need to discuss is pulmonary या lung volumes and the capacities. Pulmonary capacities. So if you have any doubt related to this mechanism of breathing, you are free to ask me the questions. Yes, you are free to ask me the questions. Quick. 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 Okay, so 12 to 16 times per minute. Okay, 12 to 16 times per minute, bache. Or second thing now that we need to discuss is pulmonary volume and the capacities. But before that, please have a look. This is the diagram. You can see the arrows as well. This is important. So diaphragm is contracted, it will come down. Okay, so diaphragm will become flat shaped. Ribs and sternum, it is raised. Volume of thorax increase. So this is the rib cage. Clear, bache? So ribs and sternum return to original position, diaphragm relaxed and arched upwards, and volume of thorax decreased. Clear? Volume of thorax decreased. So the diagrams should be clear. Okay, the diagrams should be clear. Okay. So next thing is the volume. Just say what is the volume of our, matlab what exactly the amount of air our lungs are inhaling, exhaling, what are they holding, right? It includes all that things. Okay, it includes all that things. Okay, bache, right? So how can we measure it? We can measure it with the help of spirometer. How can we measure it? We can measure it with the help of spirometer. Spirometer will help in the measurement. Okay, spirometer. Here in the NCERT it is written na. The volume of air involved in breathing movements can be estimated by using a spirometer, which helps in clinical assessment of pulmonary functions. We can use it to check how well our lungs are helping. Okay, bache? Right. So we are going to talk about certain volumes. जैसे देखो, मतलब the volume of air we are taking in, we are releasing out with like normally or with extra effort. So everything, right? We are going to analyze. We are going to talk about it. So we have 4 volumes: tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, and residual volume. These are the 4 volumes that we are going to discuss first. Tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume. Tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, and residual volume. These are the 4 volumes that we have to discuss. So please mention these 4 words in the chat section. Quick, right? Quick, do it, bache. Tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, and residual volume. Please type it. Yes, quick. Yes, quick. Tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume. See students, I am teaching, right? I am teaching you people. So normally it doesn't mean that I am not breathing, right? Obviously I am taking air in, I am releasing it out. So without any that extra efforts, right, per breath, what is the amount of air that I am taking in or releasing out? That will be the tidal volume. That will be the tidal volume. So it is the volume of air inspired or expired. It is the volume of air inspired or expired. You are inhaling or expiring during a normal respiration. Volume of air inspiring or expiring. Yeah, inspiration, inhaling, yeah, exhaling during a normal respiration. It is approximately 500 ml. It is approximately 500 ml. Means per breath. Per breath, it is 500 ml. Without any conscious efforts, like I'm talking to you, I'm inhaling, exhaling 500 ml. So now I just told you that on an average, a healthy individual, right, breathes for 12 to 16 times per minute. Okay, so you can do this 12 multiply 500, 16 multiply 500. So it will be 6000 ml to 8000 ml. So it is for a minute. It is for per minute. right? It is for per minute. Okay, so or I can say that 6 liter to 8 liter per minute. 6 liter to 8 liter per minute. Yes or no? 6 liter to 8 liter per minute. Now, out of this, जैसे per breath, we are going to inhale 500 ml. बच्चे out of this 500 ml, 350 ml will be available for the exchange and 150 ml will make anatomical dead space volume. ठीक है? Anatomical dead space volume. What is it? It is anatomical dead space volume. And this one is what? This one is the alveolar air. This one is what? It is the alveolar air. What is it? It is the alveolar air. So 350 ml is alveolar air, 150 ml is the anatomical dead space volume. Okay? Now what is the meaning of anatomical dead space volume? It is not involved in gaseous exchange. It is not involved in gaseous exchange. जैसे you are inhaling, right? It's not like that if you are going to inhale 500 ml, that 500 ml is available for gaseous exchange. No, some amount of air will stay here in this conducting zone, right? It is making the anatomical dead space volume. It is in the conducting zone, it is making the anatomical dead space volume. Okay, so it is not involved in gaseous exchange, but this 350 ml is involved in gaseous exchange. Is that clear? This 350 ml is involved in gaseous exchange. Is that clear? Is that clear? And let me tell you, out of this 350, right, still some amount of air in the alveoli itself will again make dead space volume. It is the alveolar dead space volume. So we consider physiological dead space volume, we add this part and alveolar dead space volume. But okay, that is way beyond your concept. So as of now you can just focus on this part, right, that this 150 ml is the anatomical dead space volume. So recall it, guys, recall it quick, just recall it. So this tidal volume clear? This tidal volume clear? I believe it is clear to you all. So let's move to the next part, that is inspiratory reserve volume. So additional volume of air a person can inspire after a forcible inspiration, means you are inhaling forcibly. Yoga, okay, you are inhaling forcibly. So it will be 2500 to 3000 ml. So yes, you need to remember these values. Right, you really need to remember these values. Then expiratory reserve volume, you have to exhale. So it is a common rule. If I will ask you to take something, you will take more and more things. But if I will ask you to give something, then obviously you will be like, "Arey yaar, I don't have much things. Okay, I'll give this, give that." So see, when you are going to inhale, you will inhale more, 2500 to 3000 ml. But when it comes to the expiration, it will be 1000 to 1100 ml only. Right, 1000 to 1100 ml only. Clear bache? Clear bache? It is 1000 to 1100 ml only. Then bache, there is the residual volume. Then there is the residual volume. What is it? It is the residual volume, remaining volume. So even after the forcible expiration, bache, it's not that we are going to release the complete air from our lungs, right? Our lungs are never empty. Okay, so they will have some amount of air always, and that is the residual volume, and its amount is 1100 to 1200 ml. Okay, so volume of air remaining in the lungs even after forcible expiration. Forcefully you are exhaling, but still there is some amount of air which is there in your lungs, that is the residual volume. Okay, that is the residual volume. So this is all about the volume. So how many volumes do we have? 4. Tidal, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, and residual volume. So one thing that you need to remember is that bache, spirometer cannot measure residual volume. Spirometer cannot measure residual volume. Okay? Spirometer cannot measure residual volume. Understood? Understood? So pulmonary capacity. Next is pulmonary capacity, lung capacity or pulmonary capacity. So now the capacity of your lungs, ability of your lungs. Take a capacity and ability of your lungs. We are going to check capacity and ability of our lungs. So basically capacities are combination of volumes, right? Some students, they made it very difficult, but actually this topic is very easy. It is the combination of volumes. What is it, students? Combination of volume. So you have to remember few words. Just see, we have 5 capacities. Inspiratory capacity, firstly you remember it, okay? Inspiratory capacity IC, expiratory capacity EC, inspiratory capacity IC, expiratory capacity EC. Then there is the vital capacity, students, VC, okay? Then there is the functional residual capacity. What is there? Then there is the functional residual capacity, that is FRC, right? But yes, we have missed one, that is your total lung capacity. Total lung capacity, that is TLC. So how many capacities do we have? 5. 5. So it is inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, vital capacity, total lung capacity, and functional residual capacity. Okay, how many capacities do we have? 5. How many capacities do we have? 5. So inspiratory, expiratory, vital, functional residual capacity, and total lung capacity. Okay, inspiratory, expiratory, vital, functional residual capacity, and total lung capacity. Understood? Right? Inspiratory, expiratory, vital capacity, functional residual capacity, and total lung capacity. So these are the 5 capacities that we have. Okay, these are the 5 capacities that we have. Okay, so again write it. I'll tell you the formula. So inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, vital capacity, total lung capacity, and functional residual capacity. Inspiratory, expiratory, vital, total, and functional. So bache, do one thing. Tidal volume, tidal volume, tidal volume, tidal volume. For these 4, we have to keep the tidal volume first. Take a tidal volume, tidal volume, tidal volume, tidal volume. Because it is inspiratory capacity, add inspiratory reserve volume. it is expiratory capacity, add expiratory reserve volume. It is vital capacity, then you have to add both. Okay, and when it is total, in total we'll consider the residual volume as well. We will consider the residual volume as well. And when it is functional residual, remaining capacity, for remaining obviously you have to consider residual volume plus expiratory reserve volume. So tell me, formulas, are they difficult or easy? Are they difficult or easy? It's very simple. We have inspiratory capacity, expiratory, vital, total and functional residual capacity. We have inspiratory capacity, expiratory, vital, total and functional residual capacity. So when it is the inspiratory capacity, tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory capacity, tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume, vital capacity, tidal volume plus IRV plus ERV, total. So it will be residual volume also, functional residual capacity, residual volume plus ERV, residual volume plus ERV. This is what we have. Clear, bache? This is what we have. Is that clear? Is that clear? So when you see this total lung capacity, as I said, tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume and residual volume. So it's simple mathematics. Can I call it vital capacity plus residual volume? Yes, students. Can I call it vital capacity plus residual volume? Can I call it vital capacity plus residual volume? Definitely. Definitely. So you know that this RV cannot be measured by spirometer. So spirometer cannot measure total lung capacity and functional residual capacity. Spirometer cannot measure total lung capacity and functional residual capacity. That is what you have to keep in your mind. So let's revise it from this NCERT part. Right, bache? Right. So inspiratory capacity, total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. So we have to check the lung capacity for inspiration. So obviously after normal expiration, whatever I am going to inhale, that will make my inspiratory capacity. Then expiratory mein opposite. Total volume of air a person can expire after normal inspiration. Now when it is the vital capacity, right? Now when it is the vital capacity. So vital capacity means bache, maximum volume a person can breathe in after a forced expiration. Maximum volume, matlab forceful, after forceful expiration what can I breathe in, and after forceful inspiration what can I breathe out. That will make the vital capacity of my lungs, right? The maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration, or a maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after the forced inspiration is making the vital capacity. So when it is the total, right? So it is total volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of forced inspiration. Total volume of air, right, accommodated in the lungs at the end of a forced inspiration. Right, bache? And what is this functional residual capacity? Volume of air that will remain in the lungs after normal expiration. So yes, the definition, the formula, everything should be clear to you. Okay, everything should be clear to you. So from this chart, right, diagrams are important, the partial pressure, right, and all. So guys, you can follow my detailed chapter. There is one shot as well, right? You can revise that chapter completely. Secondly, bache, I have added few questions also, right? I have added few questions also with solutions. So you people will get it in our Telegram, official Telegram group. Okay? In our official Telegram group, you guys will get the link, right? You people are going to get the PDF for this particular, right? For this particular chapter. So now, right, so you know that pharynx 3.0 batch, okay, it's about to start now. So I don't know today this description box and all, so ye dekho. So guys, you can go to the any video on our channel, right, and here in the description box you will see some links. So first link is for this Revise India test series for NEET UG at ₹1. Matlab you just need to pay us ₹1 and you can revise your entire syllabus, because you are going to get the full syllabus mock test. Okay, full syllabus mock test in just ₹1, and the timing will be same, 2 to 5:20 p.m. Okay, so make sure, right, you enroll here, because questions are going to be amazing. They are NCERT based question and you will get a chance to practice. And even if you are still thinking to start your NEET 2025 preparation, you will get an idea where are you lacking, which are your strong concepts, right, where are you, where you need to work hard more. Okay, so then you know that the another solution. If you have decided that you want to go for the NEET 2025, so you know that pharynx 3.0 batch is there for all of you. So guys, after 24th, this batch, the price of this batch will increase, but as of now, for 1 year, you guys can get this batch at rupees 5499. Right? So if you are even preparing for NEET 2026, you can join this batch for 2 years, right? The Nimbus Nexus courses are also there. So basically the best part is that if you take these courses now, you will have the access of all the courses on Unacademy platform. Let's say you have missed one class, right? You want to see the another live class of the same topic, you can go for that, right? Right? So that is the benefit of this batch. So before 24th, join it quickly. Right, join it quickly, and do not forget to join our official Telegram group. So I will share the PDF there. Solve these questions and